After waiting for 10 years, they finally decided to upgrade. But here's the part people don't expect. Once they finally decided to move, that's when the real mistake usually happens. Because what they're about to do next may cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars. Choosing the wrong property. Today I met a couple. So they've been thinking about upgrading for at least 10 years. But every time, maybe wait first, because honestly, life is quite comfortable already. The house is going to be fully paid off, and then the kids are also quite happy here. Maybe you also feel the same. Can upgrade, but not sure whether it's worth it, with the prices so high, and also you're afraid that you may make the wrong move. So just delay. But now they cannot wait already, because prices keep moving up. People around them are upgrading. So they say, okay, it's the time to move. But here's the problem. Once you decide to upgrade, that's when most people make the biggest mistake. So I asked them, what kind of condo are you looking at? Then they said, something small, the very exclusive type, only 20 to 30 units, quiet, not so crowded, with a nice pool and gym. I told them, yes, I know this type. The kind that when you walk in, everything just suddenly becomes so peaceful, like you leave all your problems outside, and then finally you can hear yourself think, and you can also hear what your spouse has been saying all this while. And the wife, say, yes, that's the type that I like. I like that feeling, very peaceful, like everything just slows down. And honestly, I myself also like this kind of place. But this is where you'll need to be a bit careful, because I've seen this before. This feeling is very nice when you buy, but 10 years later, that same feeling can turn into something else. Regret. Let me share with you why. Not theory, just what I've seen over the years. First of all, the price movement. These small, very exclusive, boutique kind of projects, sometimes there's only one unit sold every few years. So what happens? There's no strong price movement. So even if you want to sell higher, buyers will only compare with the last transaction. And if the last transaction was done a few years ago, it's very hard to push the price up. And then secondly, the maintenance of the project. Nice facilities, small number of units. Sounds good, right? But over time, things start to get old and get spoiled. Lots of repairs are needed, and the cost will definitely go up. But still the same 20 households paying for all these repairs. So the maintenance fees keeps going up. So when you sell and you tell the buyer that the maintenance fees is $600 a month for a small pool and gym, they will find it very expensive and will stop them from buying. Thirdly, the buyer pool. This one is the biggest issue with this type of boutique project, because not everyone likes this kind of project. Usually it's for a very specific type of profile, people who want quiet, privacy, exclusivity. Maybe not for families where they have a few kids and they need to ferry them to childcare and primary school every day, and it's a very far walk to the nearest bus stop. But when you want to sell, wouldn't it be better to have more buyers and not fewer buyers? So I'm not saying that these properties won't go up in price. They can, but the growth and the exit becomes much harder. So after that, I told them this. Maybe the question you should be asking is not, do I like the place, nice or not, peaceful or not, feel good or not. Maybe the right question you should be asking is, 10 years later, who will buy this from me? Because your future buyer will determine your profits. So if your property is suitable for HDB upgraders, families, then your downside is usually protected, because this is the biggest group of buyers in the market. But if your property only appeals to a very specific type of buyers, like singles or couples with very niche kind of preferences, then your pool of buyers may be very limited. And that's where people will get stuck. So it's not about whether you like the place. It's about whether enough people will like it after you. Then they told me, I know, but I really don't want to, live in somewhere that is so crowded. Every time I come out of my house, I see so many blocks and I feel very claustrophobic. I said, yeah, I understand. Some projects, when you walk out, straight away, you already feel very stressed. So it's not wrong to want space. There's nothing wrong. But then here's the thing. It's not either this or that. It's not either small developments or the big condo projects. You can also find something in between. There are some projects, the bigger developments, where there are certain stacks, certain facing that is unblocked. It's got a lot of privacy and it still feels very exclusive. For example, like this project called One Canberra, it's a bigger project, but if you choose the right unit, it faces unblocked view. And some of the water features also makes me feel like I'm in a Balinese villa. And it includes all the good things like near MRT, primary school, mall. And it really doesn't feel crowded. Still quiet, still comfortable. But at the same time, you have a much larger pool of buyers in future. So you don't have to choose between nice to stay and good investment. If you choose properly, you can get both. Then this is still not the only issue. Even the unit itself can become a problem. Recently, I also spoke to another couple. They were very excited about this unit. 3-bedroom, but split into 2 levels. Master room upstairs opens to a balcony. Very private. And I understand the appeal. So I asked them one question. 10 to 15 years later, are you still comfortable to climb the stairs every day? Now, maybe today no issue, but over time the knees may not be so strong already. Then your parents may want to come over, that will be even worse. And then suddenly this unique layout becomes a problem. And even if your legs are still okay, right? When you want to sell in future, families will think twice. Older buyers will think even more times. So again, the buyer pool becomes very small. And same thing for ground floor units with the big PES and penthouses with huge terraces. Don't get me wrong, there are still buyers definitely for this type of units, because out of 10 buyers, 2 will go for only this kind of units. These buyers only want either the ground floor, because they have pets or they love gardening, but there are quite few of such buyers and it will take a longer time to sell. So I realized something over the years. The more special a unit is, the fewer people will be attracted to it. And in property, fewer buyers means more risk. So this is what I've learned over the years. When you choose a property, don't just ask, do I like it? Maybe you can ask, will this limit my buyers in future? If the answer is yes, then your risk goes up. If the answer is no, if it appeals to families, HDB upgraders, the mass market, then even during times when the market is not doing well, your downside is still protected because evergreen demand is there. And I've seen this many times. Same income, same starting point. One makes the right decision, but the other one chooses something based on their feelings. And 10 to 15 years later, they will have a completely different outcome. So this is not about buying the nicest unit or buying something that fits your idea of a dream home the most. It's about buying something that other people will also want later. Actually, I did the breakdown before. I looked at some of the fastest growing condos in a couple of estates. And what I found was quite interesting. They all share a few similar characteristics. And what is surprising is that it's not like things like near MRT, near good school. So if you are thinking currently like of what kind of property I should choose, then maybe you will want to watch that next. I'll show you exactly what to look out for, so you don't end up choosing something that looks good now, but becomes very hard to sell later.